Hey, we are in First Chronicles chapters 9 and 10 in the New International Version. And we have one more chapter of genealogy. And then we get back into some of the text of Chronicles as it kind of fills in the gaps of what took place in the Kings and in Samuel. A lot of it's a repeat. Some of it is a little bit of new information. So if you hear something, you go, I've heard that before. Well, you did. The writer of Chronicles is just putting it all in perspective as he writes. So let's go ahead and jump into chapter 9. All Israel was listed in the genealogies recorded in the book of the king of Israel and Judah. They were taken captive to Babylon because of their unfaithfulness. Now, the first to resettle on their property in their own towns were some Israelites, priests, Levites, and temple servants. Those from Judah and from Benjamin and from Ephraim and Manasseh who lived in Jerusalem were Uthai, son of Ammihud, the son of Omri, the son of Imri, the son of Benai, a descendant of Perez, son of Judah. Of the Shilonites, Asaiah, the firstborn, and his sons. Of the Zerahites, Jerul. The people from Judah numbered 690. Of the Benjamites, Salu, son of Mishullam, the son of Hodaviah, the son of Hasanua, Ibniah, son of Jehoram, Elah, son of Uzi, son of Mikri, and Meshullam, son of Jephatiah, the son of Reuel, the son of Ibnijah. The people from Benjamin, as listed in their genealogy, numbered 956. All these men were heads of their families. Of the priests, Jedediah, Jehorib, Jachin, Azariah, son of Hilkiah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Zadok, the son of Mirioth, the son of Ahitub, the official in charge of the house of God. Adiah, son of Jeroram, the son of Pashur, the son of Malchijah, and Masai, son of Adil, the son of Jazerah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Meshillemith, the son of Immer. The priests who were heads of families numbered 1,760. They were able men responsible for ministering in the house of God. Of the Levites, Shimei, son of Hasub, the son of Izrakim, the son of Hashabiah, a Merarite, Bakar, Haresh, Galel, and Mattaniah, son of Micah, the son of Zikri, the son of Asaph, Obadiah, son of Shimei, the son of Galel, the son of Jeduthun, and Berechiah, son of Asa, the son of Elkanah, who lived in the villages of the Netophathites. The gatekeepers, Shalom, Akub, Telman, Ahiman, and their fellow Levites, Shalom, their chief, being stationed at the king's gate on the east up to the present time. These were the gatekeepers belonging to the camp of the Levites. Shalom, son of Kor, the son of Ibiseth, the son of Korah, and his fellow gatekeepers from his family, the Kohorites, were responsible for guarding the thresholds of the tent, just as their ancestors had been responsible for guarding the entrance to the dwelling of the Lord. In earlier times, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, was the official in charge of the gatekeepers, and the Lord was with him. Zechariah, son of Meshelemiah, was the gatekeeper at the entrance to the tent of meeting. Altogether, those chosen to be gatekeepers at the threshold numbered 212. They were registered by genealogy in their villages. The gatekeepers had been assigned to their positions of trust by David and Samuel the seer. They and their descendants were in charge of guarding the gates of the house of the Lord, the house called the tent of meeting. The gatekeepers were on the four sides, east, west, north, and south. Their fellow Levites in their villages had to come from time to time and share their duties for 7-day periods. But the four principal gatekeepers, who were Levites, were entrusted with the responsibility for the rooms and treasuries in the house of God. They would spend the night stationed around the house of God because they had to guard it, and they had charge of the key for opening it each morning. Some of the men were in charge of the articles used in the temple service. They counted them when they were brought in and when they were taken out. Others were assigned to take care of the furnishings and other articles of the sanctuary, as well as the special flour and wine and the olive oil, incense and spices. But some of the priests took care of mixing the spices. A Levite named Mattathiah, the firstborn son of Shallum the Korahite, was entrusted with the responsibility for baking the offering bread. Some of the Kohathites were their fellow Levites were in charge of preparing for every Sabbath the bread set out on the table. Those who were musicians, heads of Levite families, stayed in the rooms of the temple and were exempt from other duties because they were responsible for the work day and night. All these were heads of Levite families, chiefs as listed in their genealogy, and they lived in Jerusalem. Jeiel, the father of Gibeon, lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah, and his firstborn son was Abdon, followed by Zur, Cush, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth. Mikloth was the father of Shimim. They too lived near their relatives in Jerusalem. Ner was the father of Kish, and Kish the father of Saul, and Saul the father of Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal, the son of Jonathan, Merib-Baal, who was the father of Micah. The sons of Micah, Pithon, Malik, Tariah, and Ahaz. Ahaz was the father of Jada. Jada was the father of Elameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. And Zimri was the father of Mosa. Mosa was the father of Beniah. Raphiah was his son. Eliasa was his son. And Azel his son. Azel had 6 sons, and these were their names: Azrikam, Bakru, Ishmael, Shiriah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were the sons of Azel. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the Israelites fled before them, and many fell dead on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines were in hot pursuit of Saul and his sons, and they killed his sons Jonathan, Abinadab, and Melchi-Shua. The fighting grew fierce around Saul, and when the archers overtook him, they wounded him. Saul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through, or these uncircumcised fellows will come and abuse me." But his armor-bearer was terrified and would not do it. So Saul took his own sword and fell on it. When the armor-bearer saw that Saul was dead, he too fell on his sword and died. So Saul and his 3 sons died, and all his house together died. When all the Israelites in the valley saw that the army had fled, and that Saul and his sons had died, they abandoned their towns and fled, and the Philistines came and occupied them. The next day, when the Philistines came to strip the dead, they found Saul and his sons fallen at Mount Gilboa. They stripped him and took his head and his armor, and sent messengers throughout the land of the Philistines to proclaim the news among their idols and their people that they put his armor in the temple of their gods and hung up his head in the temple of Dagon. When all the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, all their valiant men went out and took the bodies of Saul and his sons and brought them to Jabesh. Then they buried their bones under the great tree in Jabesh, and they fasted 7 days. Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord, and even consulted a medium for guidance, and did not inquire of the Lord. So the Lord put him to death and turned the kingdom over to David, son of Jesse. Just a couple of pointers. One thing that we're going to find in, well, first of all, the Philistines, always a thorn in the side of Israel. A little history on the Philistines. Amos chapter 9 tells us they come from the island of Crete, but they were big traders. They were big traders with countries that were far away, like the Greeks. And their army, their military, they traded military items. And that is what's one of the things that made them so powerful, because they traded and got the best equipment. They had the best armor, the best weapons. And so they made a force that was just about unbeatable with the Israelites, because they just didn't have that technology and that those equipment to be able to do battle hand to hand with them. One of the things that we're going to find out about Chronicles is that as Kings and Samuel, when we talk about David, they are very blunt. They tell us how great David was, but they also are very realistic with David's imperfections, his sins, his adultery, his lust, his poor parenting. When we come to Chronicles, all we're going to see is the good side of David. We're going to see the same stories, but all coming from David, that he was the greatest, that he was the man after God's own heart. And so that's going to be a little interesting take as we go through. Notice how David is continually lifted up. Have a great day. Bye.